Hello everyone, very good evening and welcome to StudyIQ IAS English. My name is Abhishek Singh and my dear students, today I am once again back here with the next part of our lecture on the temple architecture, and make it sure that if you are able to get the voice properly and there is no other disturbances, no other echo sounds, because I think I felt a little bit of echo. But now it is absolutely fine. So kindly confirm it yes or no if you are able to hear me or view me properly in the lecture. Today we will be learning about the Nagara style of temple architecture in detail. Yesterday I had given you an overview related to the various temple architectural designs. Not only that, in the previous lectures we have already discussed the evolution or the evolutionary characteristics of the temple architecture, where we talked about the cave temples and we talked about the monolithic structural temples, and now we are going to study about the structural temple architecture. So quickly join the session and make it sure that you do not forget to share this class with your friends as well as your co-aspirants, so that they can also get benefited from this particular lectures. But before proceeding, let me tell you about a very important thing, that is our new P2I batches which are starting from the 11th of September. These are the morning batches which will be having lots of features which will be essential for any aspirant to clear the examination in 2024. In fact, if you are looking for one-stop solution which provides you not only the live classes but also the comprehensive and accurate notes and reference books as well as the handwritten notes plus one-to-one mentorship, everything, you are absolutely at the right place. Here you can join our P2I batches, but do not forget to use my code ASR Live. This code will be giving you the benefit of the fees, because the maximum discount is possible if you are using my code ASR Live. Now moving further to the topic. So here, if we are talking about the Nagara style, right, Dravidian style or Vesara style, these three are three basic categories of the temple architecture in which certain elements are absolutely common, but then we come across certain differences as well. For example, if you look at the basic sketch diagram, or even if the images are visible to you, in the Nagara style you can see the entirely different shape of the temple spire or temple tower. In the Dravida style you can see the pyramidical structure in the form of the tower of the temple, and in the Vesara style you can see a combination of these two which is much closer to the Nagar as far as the Shikhar is concerned, but when it comes to the structure of the temple, then it is very similar to the Dravidian style. Alright. Not only that, when we talk about the schematic differences, then you can see here that in the Nagara temple architecture, Nagara style temple architecture, you have the plinth, right? Then you have the jangha, and then here on the jangha entire structure is erected, and just at the entrance you have the covered hall, that covered hall called as the mandap. But this mandap, it is divided into the three distinct parts with a similar tower over each of the temple or each of the segments. For example, this will be the mukh mandap, or simply the entrance. Then this will be the proper mandap, alright, mandap, and this will be the mahamandap, okay, mahamandap. Alright everyone, here also you can see that there is a hall, but unlike the presence of the towers over the temple hall, you do not find any type of towers over the temple hall in the Dravidian style. That means here the hall is basically a flat roofed and present with the number of columns on both the sides, right? That is basically the feature of Dravidian style. However, as we had discussed in the previous lecture about certain common features, but you can see the difference in the curvilinear design, okay, curvilinear design of shikhar, curvilinear shikhar, whereas this is the pyramidal vimana, all right. So overall there are quite drastic differences, but if we study about the Nagara temple architecture, Nagara style is basically that developed during the Gupta period, and before coming into the proper peak, this style undergoes the evolutionary changes. For example, it was initially a flat roofed temple style in which there were simple flattish roof of the temple followed by a small and less heighted plinth, and on the less height plinth basically there used to be a flat roof covered porticos. Okay, if we talk about porticos, let me tell you, this is actually how a portico looks like. Okay, so this is basically the earliest example of the temple architecture in the North India, or this can also be called as the precursor of the proper or typical Nagara style temple. All right everyone, now moving further, when we talk about the features, so the most primary feature of the Nagara style temple, that is, they are generally built upon following the Panchayatan style of temple architecture. What is the Panchayatan style, by the way? Panchayatan style is basically, I have told you in the very first part of our lecture on the temple architecture, where we have the four additional deity and one central deity, one chief deity, okay, and four additional deities. This is how we have the temple architecture, right? Temple architecture of the Panchayatan style. This is called Panchayatan style. Okay. Apart from Panchayatan style, we can also understand the basic presence of the crucified ground plan with respect to the principal shrine. As I told you, crucified ground plan with respect to the principal deity. That is the Panchayatan style. Okay everyone. Here in the Nagara style, we also have the assembly halls or the mandaps where the deities of the god, they gather and they wait for the darshan. Not only that, outside the Garbhagriha, what is the Garbhagriha? If you remember Garbhagriha, it is the sanctum sanctorum. It is the principal place where the image of the deity is kept. The main center where the statue of the god that is kept, that is sanctum sanctorum. So just outside that you will find the presence of the river goddesses. I had already told you these things in the yesterday's lecture. Okay, not only that, if you see, if there is any water tank in the premise of the temple, there are no water tanks in the premise of the temple. Why so? What is the reason? Usually, my dear friends, in the North Indian temples, you will find that the areas or the surroundings of the temples, they had the running water sources. So it was regarded as a sacred practice, as a pious practice to take a dip in the holy rivers rather than to take a bath or take a dip in the water ponds located in the temple premise. Therefore, temples were constructed near the water bodies, but no water bodies were there in the premise of the temple, in the area of the temple. I hope you got the point. In fact, there was no specific boundary. Which could decide that this is the proper area, proper demarcated area of the temple region. Right, everyone? On the other hand, if you will go through and study about the Dravidian style of temples, you will find that there are essentially the demarcated, well barricaded or boundaried areas with the proper walls which tell you that this is the exact premise of the temple architecture, also of the temple structure in Dravidian style. In the Nagar, we don't have any defined boundary walls around the temple. That's very simple. Apart from that, temples were usually built upon the upraised platforms, right? Upraised platforms. Upraised platforms means what? This might be having certain height. Initially, you can see these temples are built upon very less height of platform. And guys, if you remember the classification Sandhara, Nirandhara, Sarvato Bhadra, do you remember? Tell me in the comment box that which category is this, Sandhara, Nirandhara or Sarvato Bhadra. I have already told you about these categorization, very important for the UPSC prelims examination. You have to answer that in the comment box. Now moving further, usually three type of the shikharas are present in our Nagar style temples. Which are those three types of the shikhars? So these three types of shikharas are basically following. Let me tell you the names all at one place, and then the first is called as Latina, right? Latina or Rekha Prasad. Rekha Prasad. Second one is called as Phamsana, okay. Third one is called as Vallabhi. Now remember this point, Rekha Prasad is basically the curvilinear structure, right? Curvilinear structure of the tower, curvilinear tower. Alright, you can see this particular tower, it is a curvilinear tower with the square base, you can see that this must have been a square, and on the square base you can see that these corners are slightly tapering inwards. It is like, it is like joining two different squares together, and here you can see these are joint, okay. Now this is how it looks like, Then we come across the second type, that is the Phamsana. What is the Phamsana type here? Guys, let me tell you that Phamsana, if we are talking about Phamsana, here these type of shikharas have a broad base and shorter in the height. So usually when you have the smaller base, now you will have the elongated towers. This will be your Rekha Prasad. But on the other hand, if you have broad base, you will expect that this tower will be ending soon, okay. So that is called as the Phamsana, okay, Phamsana. And if you have the rectangular base with a roof rising to the vaulted chambers, for example, if you have a rectangular base and then you have this type of roof, okay, which looks like the copy of a Chaitya hall, or it looks like an inverted U-shaped structure. Suppose if you cut a cylinder, from the half, then you can understand that how would it look like. You can see that this is basically a cylindrical structure, okay. So basically Vallabhi type of the shikhar is a semi-cylindrical structure of the roof. When you see the semi-cylindrical roof, try to understand that is the Vallabhi shikhar of the temple. Until and unless you see the pictures, you don't understand, you will not understand this thing. So this is what I am talking about. This is the Phamsana type of shikhar. You can see, right, straight, right, comparatively straighter walls, straight corners. If you see the previous picture, here you are having the corners which are tapering inside, that is Rekha Prasad. Then straight corners, they are the Phamsana. And if you see behind me, just have a look on this one. If you see the semi-cylindrical type of the, right, semi-cylindrical type of the roof, or here semi-cylindrical type of roof, this is called as Vallabhi style of the temple Shikhar, Vallabhi style of the temple Shikhar. Okay, everyone. Then we can see here that basically, right, above the Amalaka, the Kalash is kept. Guys, remember one point, that before we proceed further, we can understand that on the top of the Shikhar, there is a structure called as Amalak. I think most of you must have seen that on the top of the temple there is a lotus-like plate, which is kept upon the temple head, and this is basically called as Kalash. Okay, this is called as Amalak. All right, everyone. And these are the guard deities, right? The guard deities. If you remember the point that we had studied in the North Indian temples, the gods of the direction, the gods who are monitoring the different directions, so that there is no threat or no danger to the temple, just as a part of theory, we can see the presence of these, and on the head of them we have the Amalaka. Okay. Now moving further, overall the basic design of any Nagar style temple, that will look like this. This is the proposed Janmabhoomi temple, proposed Ram Janmabhoomi temple. It is the same architecture in which they are going to follow in constructing the temple of Ayodhya, Ram Janmabhoomi. So here you can see that basically there is a platform. First of all, on the platform there is another flat surface, and then we have the stairs. This is basically called a Jagat. Jagat is the top surface over the platform on which the temple structures are erected. Then we have the entrance. The entrance is basically mandap and mandap. Three different mandaps with the specific type of or specific pattern of the temple tower. How many of you can tell me the name of this style of tower, everyone? This is the Phamsana. Style of tower. Okay, Phamsana style of tower. You can see here the straight tapering. The slope of the tower is absolutely straight. Okay, absolutely straight. However, when you see the slope of this tower slope is a curved slope. Okay, so curved slope of tower, then this is Latina, and straight slope of tower, that is Phamsana. Okay, that is Phamsana. I hope everybody will understand this difference very clearly just by looking at this picture. All right, everyone. And at the same time, if we try to categorize it into the Sandhara, Nirandhara, Sarvatobhadra, then my dear students, this will be a Sarvatobhadra temple. As you can see here, you can have the entrance from all the sides. This is the Sarvatobhadra style of temple architecture. Okay, everybody. Now, if we try to understand the different categories of the Nagar style of temple architecture, here you will have the three different categories in the Nagar style: Odisha school, Khajuraho school, and the Marugurjar school or Solanki school. So what is the meaning of the school here? School is basically like we have the Gandhara school of art or Mathura school of art. It means that there is a specific common feature or a group of features which are followed across this entire region, and they are present throughout the temples which are constructed in this area. Okay. So therefore, Odisha school means the specific features of the Nagar temples present in the Odisha region of the southeastern India, okay, or simply eastern India. Now, this is also known as the Kalinga style. I have already told to you, but here let me tell you that these temples, they have the intricate carvings on the outer walls, but they are very plain and very blank in the inner walls, on the inner walls. Okay. Similarly, in the Kalinga style, my dear friends, you will not see the excessive presence of any pillars. The Odisha style of Nagar architecture, they used the iron flanges. Therefore, the number of pillars used here, that is very less as compared to the other style of temple architectures. That is the special feature of Odisha style of temple architecture. Now, if we talk about that, if there are no pillars, then how is the roof of temple supported? Roofs are supported with the help of the iron beams. Okay, with the help of the iron beams. Apart from that, if we talk about the specific style of the temple tower, the temple towers, I told you that the tapering and curvilinear towers are the special feature of Kalinga architecture, for which the name given is the Rekha Prasad. And guys, such temples, remember that such temples which have the curvilinear towers, they are called as Rekha Deula, right? Rekha Deul. Rekha Deul means what? Rekha Deul means, Deul is basically Deula or Devalay. In Sanskrit we have Devalay, in Odia, even in the Marathi we have the Deula or Deul. Deul indicates the home of the god. That means such temples where Rekha Prasad is the style of tower, then we call it as the Rekha Deula. And on the other side, there is a second type of tower, as I told you, Phamsana, the Phamsana. So here, my dear students, when the tower is having the Phamsana style of roof, usually Phamsana style of roof is present. I told you in the previous picture, Phamsana style of roof is present here over the mandap. However, if you see the Kalinga style of architecture, the mandap is called as Jagmohan. Remember the name. What is Jagmohan? Jagmohan is the name of the mandap constructed in the Kalinga style of architecture. And here, if you cover it, this is the exact structure. How does it look? How is it looking? So this is the main tower of the temple. Here it is the Garbhagriha, and just over the temple we have the Amalak, we have the Kalash. This entire structure is called as a Shikhar, and in Odia style this is called as the Rekha Deul. However, this portion which is having the straight slope, this is called as a Jagmohan. Jagmohan has three different parts, my dear students. Remember the name. The topmost part is called as Mastak. This is called Mastak. The secondary or the middle part is called as Kanti or Ganti. Okay. And then the base is called as Bada. Okay. So Mastak, Kanti or Bada, right? These are the different names which you should be knowing. So in the best example, if we see the Odia style of temple architecture, the best examples include the Jagannath temple at Puri, or Lingaraj temple at Bhubaneswar, or Sun temple at Konark. In fact, if you see the Konark Sun temple, you will realize that actually we have lost this part of Konark Sun temple. Only this part is left, only Jagmohan part is left. All right, everyone. One more thing you need to keep in the mind, that usually in the Nagar style we don't have the boundary walls, but Kaling style in the Nagar school, Kaling school in the Nagar style, that has the presence of boundary walls as a special exceptional feature. All right. Look at this majestic picture of the Konark Sun temple. It is clearly visible. Now this is the Bada, this is the Bada, this is the Kanti, and this is the Mastak. This is the Mastak. Okay, and this entire structure is called as a Jagmohan. It is called as a Jagmohan. Okay, and there is a possibility that behind this entire structure there would have been a bigger tower called Rekha Deula, but that might be broken or might be damaged. Okay, this is the original schematic plan of the Konark Sun temple, right everyone, and this is how this would have been looking. This is how it would have been looking, right everybody. So I hope that this is the part which you are already seeing even today. This is the part which was damaged, and these are the additional structures inside the boundary wall which is enclosing the entire temple premise. Okay, you might be wondering that what are the names of these additional structures, guys. These are the Nritya Mandap, Natya Mandap, or different mandapas which have the purpose of acting as a school or as a school of the skits, school of the dance. All these different things were held or done in the Kaling architectural style. Now Khajuraho school, the second most important style of Nagar style, that is the Khajuraho school. Here let me tell you, in the Khajuraho school of Nagar style, the most prominent dynasty which built these temples, they were the Chandela dynasty, and the Chandelas had constructed two different groups of the temples in Khajuraho. Which are those two different groups of the temples? Guys, remember the name Khajuraho group of temples. Khajuraho group of temples is classified into the Western group. Western groups include the temples dedicated to the Shiva and Vishnu, right? Lord Shiva and Vishnu. Okay, Shiva and Vishnu temples. And in the Eastern group, we have the Jain temples. Jain temples. Primarily, the Jain temples are dedicated to Adinath and Parshvanath. All right, everyone. So what are the special features of the Khajuraho group of temples or Khajuraho school of Nagar style? The most important feature that probably most of you must have heard about, that is the exquisite use of the decorations with the help of the Mithunas indulged into the love making as per the descriptions given in the book written by Vatsyayan called Kama Sutra. Okay. Similarly, these temples are probably the perfect specimen of the Nagar style of temple architecture, with the exact presence of almost every feature of Nagar style, be it the curvilinear tower, be it the multiple mandaps, be it the presence of a plinth, or be it the presence of antaral, that is the gap between the audience hall or the devotee hall and the Garbhagriha. So you must have gone to the temples, you must have seen that there is a gap between gap between the place or the line up to which the deities can go and where the idol is kept. In between that there is a gap. The priest is very close to the idols, but no deity or basically idol is allowed to be touched by any particular devotee. Okay, so that is a very important part. This gap is called as antaral. If you see the image of this particular temple, you can understand it very well. Look at this one. Suppose if this is the kalash, so just under the kalash you will have the presence of the god. Okay, but between the garbhagriha, this is the garbhagriha, and this is the last line of the devotee hall. Here is the gap. This is the gap that is called as antaral or vestibule. Antaral or vestibule. Okay, everyone. Now you can identify each and every portion of a typical Nagar style of architecture, and here you can understand what are the different names. And this is the picture of Kandariya Mahadev temple of Khajuraho. Kandariya Mahadev temple of Khajuraho. All right, everyone. Now when we talk about the distinct feature of Khajuraho, as I told you, usually we have the spires of Khajuraho temples constructed into the Rekha Prasad or the Latina style. Then high platform is a common feature, and they are related to both Hinduism as well as Jainism, as I told you. This is the Kandariya Mahadev temple. This is the Lakshmana temple of Khajuraho. Again, the similar style of temple architecture. Okay, you can see this is the entrance with the small tower. Then this is the entrance with a small tower. Then inside that you have the mandap with a bigger tower. Both the towers are phamsana in the style. But then we have the even larger tower over the main garbhagriha of the temple. In fact, in the Khajuraho school of architecture, we have the different small pieces of the minute towers arising over and above the main tower. So guys, it looks something like that. Suppose if this is the tower, so over the tower here, then here we have a small, then here we have a small tower, right? These additional structures are called as like this one. These are called as Urushringa, right? Urushring. Okay, Urushringa. I hope you understood the meaning of Urushringa. If they ask in the examination, you don't have any excuse to tell that, sir, nobody taught me the Urushringa. I have never heard of the Urushringa. They are basically the part of the temple tower under Khajuraho style of Nagar school of art, right? Nagar architecture of temple. Okay. Now, again, this is the image of Vishwanath temple. The image of Vishwanath temple, Khajuraho. All right, everyone. Vishwanath temple of Khajuraho. Probably you can see that on the wall of the temple there are several deities with the smaller towers and overhead structures. Similarly, on the wall of the temple you can see the images showing the mithunas indulged into the lovemaking. Similarly, over the top of the temple you can see the several smaller Urushringas. These are all called as Urushringas. Okay. There are many Shringas constructed over the top of the tower. Then you can see the alternate line and presence of the several deities and several additional sculptures showing the various type of the images. So guys, I suggest you all to right, watch this very carefully to understand the intricate detailing, that how many years and what a level of craftsmanship this would have taken. It is simply stupendous and unbelievable work of a marvel. So that's very astonishing, very outstanding work. However, at the same time, we can also appreciate the Parshvanath temple constructed by the same Chandela dynasty in Khajuraho only. This Parshvanath temple is actually especially well known for its perfect square shaped entrance. Here you can see again the presence of small tower over the entrance, then the middle tower that is over the hall or mandap, and then the main tower with amlak that is over the garbhagriha. Again, there are hundreds of the sculptures showing the different deities and different mithunas on the wall of the temple, on the side walls of the temple. All right, everyone. Then we can move to the third variation in our Nagar style of architecture. The third variation is called as the Solanki school, or the western style of Nagar, or western Nagar style. Guys, in the western Nagar style, we have the Maru Gurjar or Solanki dynasty to be the most important contributor. That is why it is named after that dynasty. Okay. Primarily, this school is spread across the regions of Gujarat, some parts of southern Rajasthan, some parts of western Malwa, and only in that area. However, the most famous features of this particular style, that is, the temple walls have no carvings, rather the carved stones, they are fitted with mechanical, or fitting joints. So basically, it is like a temple is constructed with the grooves in which the entirely carved stone is simply fitted, and that looks like that temple itself is having the intricate carving. That is a very special feature of the Maru Gurjar style of temple architecture, or the Solanki school of Nagara temple architecture. Here we have the internally as well as externally connected garbhagriha in the entire building. Now here let me tell you the most important and most beautiful feature of this temple architecture, that is the arched gateways are present. Like torrents, these are also highly decorated, highly beautified and richly carved. For example, if you just look at the picture, you will realize what I am talking about. This is how the stones are actually carved, and they are looking marvelously and richly carved. These are all the intricately carved stones. They are all fitted and jointed mechanically. It looks like they are the part of the temple itself, original part, but they are actually fitted over the top of the temple. Alright. So here let me tell you one thing, that basically the most important feature of this style is the presence of the stepped well tank. Okay, stepped well tank. Stepped wells or stepped tanks, guys, these are called as vav or bawlis. Okay, bawlis. Basically, they are the water storage structures. That means it is the exceptional feature of the Solanki school that we do not have the water body inside the temple campus or inside the temple premises in any of the Nagara school, right? But here we have an exceptional feature in the Solanki school of architecture, that the presence of water body is there, unlike Kalinga style or unlike the Khajuraho style. Okay, so that is the most important part. Apart from that, we have the special feature that Surya temple, right, Surya mandirs or sun temples, they are also constructed specifically in this Maru Gurjar style to make it more inclusive and to demarcate the significance of the worship of sun as well as the worship of fire in this area. Okay, everyone. In fact, sun temple in India, that is not only present in the Gujarat, that is Modhera sun temple, but it is also present in Tamil Nadu, that is Kumbakonam, at Kumbakonam sun temple, also present in Jammu and Kashmir, that is the Martand sun temple, and then also present in the Assam region, right, Assam region, that is the near Tejpur, we have such temple. Alright everyone. Apart from that, Sun Temple Konark is another legendary and most famous Sun Temple of India. So we can say that Sun Temple is present across different states, but the most famous ones, they are actually constructed in the Nagara style of temple architecture. Okay everyone. So here you can see the pictures of the Modhera Sun Temple in Gujarat near Ahmedabad. Alright everyone. This is the same monument, again Sun Temple with a stepped pond, right? This is the stepped well structure, and here we have a pond with, right, with the proper water, right everybody. Similarly, you can see the extremely beautiful and richly carved design of the arches, and here the arches are visible absolutely clear. Okay, these are called as the multifoliated arches, and this pattern of design is basically called as Ashtadali, right? Ashtadal, or simply this is the specific feature of the Nagar style, that usually they follow the pattern of the multiple leaf of the lotus kept over each other, which will give you the stellate shape of the ground plan. So this is the ground plan of the stellate shape, right? Stellate, S, that is the stellate. Okay, that is how it is planned. You can also see this is the great structure called as Rani Ki Vav. At Rani Ki Vav, here is the water which is visible at the ground, at the very deep, and this is the panoramic picture. You can see this very well, that it has actually narrowed down to show the entire structure in one picture. But if you look at this straight photograph, then you will realize what a monumental, what a tremendous structure this is. Huge structure, worth watching it, right? Worth viewing it live. So here this entire structure is called as Rani Ki Vav, and at the bottom of this structure you will find the water body, which is probably a source of continuous supply of water in that area, right? It was, or it would have been, the source of supply, because now we have the modern sources, but in those eras we had such type of sources for the supply of water. Alright everyone. So I hope that this is absolutely clear and everybody must have seen and understood the significant features of the Nagara style of temple architecture. In tomorrow's session, we will be covering up the detailed features and specifications of the Dravid temple architecture. Till then, do not forget to join me live on 4 p.m. here on the StudyIQ IAS English channel. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe and watch this session regularly. Why? Because I am covering the art and culture portion of your history in a most comprehensive manner, which would be making sure that you do not lose those extra marks which are essential to clear the examination in the very first go. As soon as I will be completing the art and culture portion, I will be starting the medieval history from Satish Chandra, and after that, once we will cover the medieval history, then we will come to the Vipin Chandra modern history, that's also. So guys, till then, do not forget to join our batches P2I, which are starting from the 11th of September. In case if you have any plan to appear for 2024 civil services examination and to crack it in the very first go, then do give a try to our special batches called Prelims to Interview, which are an integrated program for any candidate to avail every single required facility at one place, related to the current affairs, general studies, related to the handwritten notes, mentorship, mains preparation, everything. So what are you waiting for? Just apply the code ASR live and the best price of the fees is available to you. Thank you so much for watching it, guys. Take care and let's meet tomorrow at 4 p.m. Till then, Jai Hind.